In this video, I'm going to teach you how to factorise using algebra, and it comes up every year basically on the Junior Cert course. So in order for me to begin with factorising algebra, I'm going to go over the highest common factor and what that means. So this is just a little bit of revision from first year. Say if I gave you two numbers, let's say 2 and 4, and I said, what's the highest common factor of them two numbers? What I'm talking about is, I'm saying what's the biggest number that'll go evenly into both 2 and 4. So the first thing you have to do is make a list, right? So make a list of all the numbers that go into 2. Well, 1 goes into it, and 2 goes into it, and that's about all. And all the numbers that go into 4, you're talking about 1, 2, and 4. So the highest common factor is the biggest number that's in both our lists. And you can see that 2 is there and 2 is there. And that's the biggest number that's in both of them. So the highest common factor of 2 and 4 is 2. And it doesn't matter how many numbers they give you. So if they gave you, for example, 3 numbers like 8, 12 and 20, and they said, what's the highest common factor? So they want to know what's the biggest number that will go into all 3 of them. So again, all you have to do is make your list. So all the numbers that go into 8, 1, 2, 4, and 8. All the numbers that go into 12. Blackburn, no. Are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And what about 20? Do the same with 20. 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. So out of those 3 lists, what's the biggest number that'll go into all 3 of them? Well, it has to be 4, doesn't it? So 4 is the biggest number that'll go into all 3. So in this case, your highest common factor, common because it goes with the 3 of them, equals 4. All right? In a previous video, I taught you how to multiply out brackets or expand brackets using algebra. So just to show you a quick example, if I had given you 2 and then bracket x plus 3, you know, brackets mean multiply. So 2 by x is 2x, 2, so write down our 2x, and then 2 multiplied by 3 is 6 plus 6, yeah? So that's called expanding. But sometimes they give you this. They give you that and they say, I want to know what the factors of that are. And what they're looking for you to do is to write down this. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. So the first thing you do is you look at the numbers that you have and you say, what's the highest common factor between 2 and 6? And at the start, you might have to make out a little list at the side, but after you do a few of them, you'll just be able to look at them and do it easily enough. So all the factors of 2 are 1 and 2. Now the factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. So you can see you have to use 2. So what you want to do is, the highest common factor, you take that out of each part. So if we take the 2 out side of our brackets, then we have to say to ourselves, what do we multiply 2 by to get 2x? Well, you'd have to multiply it by x. And then again, what do we have to multiply 2 by to get 6? Well, 2 3s are 6. So we say plus 3. And that's called factorise. And we can always check our answer. And I would advise you to do this in an exam situation because you've loads of time and you're better off checking. So 2 by x will give me 2x. And 2 by 3 will give me 6. So I know I'm right. That's that expression factorised. So let me do another example for you. Let's say they gave you no, not that one. say 7x plus 14. So you'd have to say to yourself, what's the biggest number or the highest common factor between 7 and 14? Well, I know that it's 7. So I'm going to take my 7 out and put in my bracket. There's nothing else I can take out there. So again, 7 multiplied by x gives me 7x. 7 multiplied by what will give me 14? Well, I know my tables and I know 7 2s are 14. Let's check, am I right? 7 by x is 7x. 7 by 2 is 14. So that is the right answer. Let me do one now that has an extra little element to it, right? So let's say I have 3x plus 6y. Firstly, we need to look at our numbers. So the highest common factor between 3 and 6 is 3. So I take out 3. Then what do I have to multiply 3 by to get 3x? I have to multiply it by x. And then what do I have to multiply 3 by to get 6? 3 2s are 6. And don't forget about your y. There's no y out here, so you have to remember to put the y in. So let's check. 3 by x is 3x. 3 by 2y will give us 6y. So I know I'm right. Now let's do another one that has a square in it. So if you remember that x multiplied by x gives me x squared, then you'll be well able to do this. So if I said 6x squared plus 4x. So deal with the numbers first. What's the highest common factor between 6 and 4? Well, I know it has to be 2. 2 is the biggest number that will go into both of them. Now let's deal with the letters. We actually have something in common here. So here we have an x squared, which is x by x. So we've 2 x's here and we've 1 x here. So what we can actually do is, because we want to take out of this and put outside the brackets the most that we can, the maximum that we can take out, numbers wise and letters wise, we can also take out x because there's x here and here. So if we take that x out, yeah, it'll be 2x. So what do we have to multiply 2 by to get 6? Well, it's 3. And what do we multiply x by to get x squared? X by x is x squared. So that has to be 3x. And then what do we have to multiply 2x by to get 4x? 2. So that one's a little trickier, but you'll get loads of examples of them online or off your teacher to practice. So let's check our answer. 2 3s are 6, x by x is x squared, brilliant. And then 2x by 2 is 4x. So I'm happy with that. There's another one now that I want to show you that has kind of like 2 little parts to it. And this came up a couple of years ago in the junior cert. So they might give you something like 3ax plus ay plus 3cx plus cy. Yeah? So that looks kind of long and it might look kind of complicated, but what I'm going to tell you to do is deal with these 2 together first and then deal with these 2. So basically it's like you're splitting it in 2. So what can we take out here and here? What have we got in common? Well, we've got an a here, we've also got an a here, so we can definitely take that out. I'm looking at that now and I can't see anything else that I can take out. So I'm just going to take out my a. So those are gone. They're outside the bracket. What have I got left? I've got 3x, so I put that here, plus my y. Brilliant. So I've dealt with that side. Let's deal with the other side now. So again, what's common? Well, there's a c there and there's a c there. So brilliant, I'm going to take that out. Plus c. So they're gone. And now what have I left? 3x plus y. 3x plus y. Now, a really cool trick to know if you're on the right track here is what's inside this bracket and this bracket should be the same. Because what we can do is, when we're multiplying them out, we only need one of these. So we can basically get rid of one. We need to you'll get, even if you just get this far, you'll get loads of marks. But there's still one more step. So what you need to do is whatever two things are outside your brackets, you need to bring them together. So that's A plus C. And then bring down just one of these, 3x plus y. So instead of having all of this written out like that, you can factorize it and show it like this. And again, you can multiply it all out to see, are you right? So A times 3x will give you 3ax, which is this. So we're happy with that. A by y will give me ay. So we're happy with that. C by 3x will give me 3cx. So that's that sorted. And then C by y will give me cy. So I know I'm right, because if I multiply these out, like I showed you how to expand your brackets, I get what they gave me originally. So I know that I'm on the right track and I've got the right answer. Now the last thing I want to show you with factorising, they're called quadratic. And quadratic just means that it has a squared. So if you have x squared plus 7x plus 6, again, if you can remember that x multiplied by x gives you x squared, you're going to fly with these. So we want to factorise this, and we need to split it up into two sets of brackets because there's two x's, and I'm going to put one x here and another x here. Now the rule is you need to get the factors of this number here that when added together give you this number. So what are all the factors of 6? Well, you can have 1 multiplied by 6, or you can have 2 multiplied by 3. Now when I add 1 and 6 together, I get 7. So I like the sound of that. When I add 2 and 3 together, I get 5. But I'm looking for 7. So I don't like the sound of that one. That one's not going to help me at all. This one looks good. So I go ahead and I put 1 here and 6 here. And you can put them the other way around, 6 there and 1 there. It makes no odds in this case because they're both plus. And then you can put in your pluses, and that's that factorised. So again, if you wanted to multiply it out, x by x gives you x squared, x by 6 will give you 6x, 1 by x will give you x, so 6x plus 1x gives you your 7, and then 1 by 6 is 6. So again, it's kind of like working backwards with what you learned before. I'll do one more example of that, and then I advise you just to go and practice loads with them, and you'll get the hang of them very quickly. So let's say we have x squared plus 9x plus 18, and sometimes they put in equals 0. Don't worry about that, okay? And if they say factorise, again, read the question. If they say factorise the following, you need to know x squared. Okay, so that means there's two x's, so x and x, and factorise means put it back into the brackets again. So now I have to ask myself, what are the factors of 18 that when added together give me 9 in this case? So I can have 1 by 18, I can have 2 by 9, or I can have 3 by 4. No, 3 by 6. Forgot my tables there for a second. So if I add 1 and 18, I get 19, but I'm looking for 9, so that's not going to work. If I add 2 and 9, I get 11, but I'm looking for 9, so that's not going to work. If I add 3 and 6, I get 9, so this is what I want to use. So I can put 3 here and 6 here, my two pluses, and again, if I multiply them out, I'll get exactly that. Thanks very much for watching.